Hi guys, I'm back for a very weird video today. Today I'm going to tell you my coronavirus story. So if you want to find out what that is, then be sure to keep watching. Hi guys, it's Jen. I'm back with another video today, and if you don't know me, I am a spiritual life and business coach, and this is my YouTube channel where I create content for you guys twice a week, every week, all about the art of upgrading and up-leveling your life through manifestation and mindset. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But with that all being said, today's video is going to be a little bit out there, but I wanted to do a personal update today to share my story and to make this video because I think this is an important thing to share. Yeah, so I'm gonna get right into it. So I'm making this video for you guys on March 20th, it's a Friday, and I'm currently officially under quarantine for having the coronavirus. So the thing is that my roommate got it and she got diagnosed with it. And they didn't test me, but they put me under quarantine as well because they figured that I probably also have it. But I actually haven't been tested, so I'm not actually 100% sure that I have this virus. But what I really wanted to make this video today was to share with you guys my experience and also to take a bit of the fear away from this, because I know that there's so much scary stuff in the news, and obviously this is a very real situation and I don't want to take away too much from that, but I also want to be reassuring to you guys that this, is completely manageable. Okay, so before we go any farther, I just want to make it incredibly abundantly clear that you should be following all the protocols. You should be self-isolating, you should be washing your hands, you should be taking all the precautions, do all the things that everyone is telling you to do. I would never tell anyone not to do those things. I just wanted to make this video as a way of sort of reassuring and calming people down, because I find it is really hard to find real useful information out there right now. The world is obviously in chaos, and sometimes you need to hear maybe a different story than what is on the news in order to make yourself feel better. So the first thing I wanted to say is, I guess I'm on the numbers of having coronavirus, but I personally don't have any symptoms. I don't know if I don't have it or if I'm asymptomatic. I just read the symptoms again right before I made this video, and I have sneezed a couple of times, but nothing that is out of the ordinary at all. I don't have a fever, I'm not coughing, I don't have anything like that. So I wanted to say this again. I don't want to make people not pay attention, but I just want to show you that, it isn't all as dark and scary as everything on the news. Obviously, I'm not immunocompromised, I'm not an older person, and I obviously don't want to share this with anybody, so of course I will follow the quarantine rules. But I just wanted to say that, if I do have it and I'm asymptomatic, I can really understand why this virus would be so potent, because I would have no way of knowing what is going on, right? And there isn't I can just run out and get a test. It still seems kind of complicated to get a test here in Berlin, Germany, at least. And there's actually a pretty low rate of people that actually have it here. But it seems that, I've known people that have had symptoms that probably weren't coronavirus, but they couldn't get a test because it seems like they only want to test people that really have the symptoms. So I'm just going to put that out there. So it would be really great, obviously, if the world had enough testing for everybody and we could all know for sure whether or not we have it. So it is good to know that maybe you can have it and not show any symptoms, but that also has to make you more aware of your responsibility, because you could be out there passing it along to people and not having any idea. I sincerely hope I didn't do that. So I've been home quarantined since Monday, and I hope I didn't pass it along to anyone before that happened. But, again, it's really would be difficult to contain this, of course, if you have no idea that you have it. So I'm just going to put that out there for what it's worth. I feel fine, totally normal, totally healthy. Everything is I would have no idea otherwise. Other than my roommate testing positive, I would have no idea. So that can be really scary and also very reassuring, because like I said at the beginning, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to, have to go to the hospital or have something really terrible happen to you if you happen to get it. So that's just the personal side and the physiological stuff that I wanted to share with you. But what I really wanted to make this video about today was about mindset, and it was about attitude, and it's about, you know, keeping your mind game sharp even when things seem really dark. So the first thing that I want to put out there again is that you always have a choice in what you want to believe is true for you. So I made up a rule for myself a very long time ago that I don't get sick, and for the most part I don't get sick. The last time I remember being pretty sick was actually last August. I got like a weird like summer flu kind of thing that lasted for a while, but every now and again I get a cold, but for the most part I never get sick, and I really never get sick enough to let it slow me down. And this is a belief I've chosen for myself. I'm going to stop right there and say that I am not suggesting that you can just choose to be healthy and beat coronavirus, okay? I'm not going to say that. But I will say that choosing to be healthy and choosing not to even view illness as something that is available to you can probably take you a really long way in your health game, okay? I know people that are, you know, as soon as they read about something, they start to think about it and think about it coming to them and assuming that they're going to get sick. And I can tell you that if you assume that you are going to get something, if you're obsessing about it, if you're reading about it all the time, you can start to make yourself feel sick. And I'm sure that probably some of you can relate to that, because I know that reading the news this week has been like that. Like, you start to read about the symptoms and then you start to think, oh my gosh, is that me? Do I feel like this? And for most of us, we are just kind of psyching ourselves up into feeling a certain way. I'm not saying that you can negatively mindset your way into having coronavirus. That's not what I mean. But you can definitely give yourself physical symptoms by fixating on the wrong things. So what I want to say to that end is it is still so important in this time. Of course, take your precautions, do all the things you were supposed to do, but you do not have to give in to the inevitability of getting sick, okay? You can decide to be healthy. You can choose health. You can decide that that is your way of living, and you can go around life doing that for yourself. And not to drag him into this, who has no idea that I'm making this video, but Gary Vee, everyone knows Gary Vee as being the sort of king of online marketing. He is like me. He decided a long time ago that he wasn't going to get sick, and he doesn't get sick, you guys. He doesn't get sick. So getting sick can be optional. I'm not saying that we can defeat coronavirus by thinking this way, but it can be optional. And I really think that goes a long way in whatever journey of health that you happen to be on at the moment. So just remember that you have the choice to believe in what you want to believe for yourself. Okay, the next point I wanted to talk about today about coronavirus is dealing with all the negative emotions. So there has obviously been a lot of negative stuff to process, to think about, to worry about. We've all been taken outside of our normal routine. We all have no idea what's going to happen next. There isn't a single person on this planet that can tell us what's going to happen next. And that leaves us all feeling extremely lost, extremely scared, confused. It is just a really discombobulating time, and it is, you know, we're way outside of our normal comfort zone here. So of course, this is a time for all kinds of negative emotions to be popping up. But what I want to offer you in this video today is that me, who apparently has been diagnosed with coronavirus without actually having been diagnosed, if I can keep a good mindset, if I can keep creating stuff for you guys, if I can keep going, then so can you, okay? So can you. So it has not all been easy. There's definitely been some challenges. Like, I have to say, of course, when my roommate came home and told me, of course I have feelings of anger about that, right? Of course, I do my best to keep, I wash my hands every time I come home from the outside world, even well before this whole thing started, which is probably another reason why I never get sick. But to feel like something came into your house and you didn't have any control over it, like, that's a pretty not great feeling, right? So, I have my own negative emotions to go through, including anger and fear and everything. And I really just want to offer that to you. Like, if I can do this, you can do this. We all have control over how we think. We all have control over what we want to believe. We all have control over what we choose to pay attention to, right? So if I watch the news all day and if I watch the numbers keep going up and I watch all that stuff, of course I'm going to be terrified. If I start thinking too much about so many of my friends who have already lost work, who are already wondering how they're going to pay their rent this month. Like, you know, that makes me feel very helpless, and I can get very upset about that. If I think about, you know, this crazy disease and the fact that it somehow made its way to my apartment, even though there's only like 500 cases in the entire city of Berlin, like that will make me feel like very angry actually. So there's a lot of things that I have been personally dealing with, and again, I have just been choosing where I want to spend my attention. I've been choosing not to go in for the fear. I've been choosing to turn away from the anger, and this is something that we all have a chance to do. So I'm not, again, going to suggest, I know some of these corona videos are kind of crazy. It's like, well, this is our time to be tested. I'm not going to suggest that this whole thing is here for us to be tested on how we can, you know, best act inside of us. But in a way, everything that we're doing here on planet Earth is a test. Everything is here for us to either run from or grow from. We can learn from it. We can use this as part of our, you know, internal tools, and we can become bigger and stronger. Or you can give into the fear and, you know, feel helpless and terrified, and that really doesn't get you anywhere though. Like when you give into those negative feelings, that doesn't get you any farther. It's actually way better for you if you feel calm and in control and you make rational decisions, rather than feeling afraid and going into panic mode and to doing crazy things from that situation, right? Like you can still take proactive action from both stances. Just because you're not panicking all the time doesn't mean you aren't paying attention. Just because you're not panicking all the time doesn't mean you're not taking it seriously. You do not have to feel the way that other people in your world feel. You do not have to feel afraid because the news wants you to feel afraid. I wrote an Instagram post about this week, and I just wanted to remind everyone, and I'll remind you again, that, you know, the news is here to report the news, but the news is also here to create repeat viewers. And if it creates this news cycle that makes you feel like the world's about to fall apart at any moment, you can't turn the TV off, then they are exactly doing their job. So it is really important to remember that part of it, and to disengage, right? Not to let that thing run your entire day. If you, like, I can guarantee you, I've been in this situation before. I was actually in Mexico a very long time ago when there was a hurricane coming towards the resort I was staying at, and I stayed up all night watching CNN and watching this red hurricane come through Cancun, and thinking that, you know, some chaos was going to happen, and like a little bit of chaos happened, but it wasn't nearly as bad as what the TV was showing us. So I just remember that, and remember that very vivid lesson that, you know, the things that are happening on TV and the worst case scenarios aren't actually necessarily what is going to happen. And again, you can be prepared, you can take precautions, you can do the things that you need to do, and you don't have to go all the way, you don't have to go all the way into fear or anger or chaos or whatever. You can still be fully in control of yourself and go through whatever it is that is happening right now. So the last tip I wanted to give you today, and this is where maybe I go a little out of normal field. So we talked about mindset, we talked about, you know, choosing to be happy, we talked about all of that stuff. And now I'm going to leave you with my corona pandemic advice. And that advice is hydrogen peroxide. So actually a few weeks ago, I did an Instagram story about this. Before I go into the whole thing, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. This is what I am doing for myself. I hope that this will maybe make sense to you, and maybe you want to do it as well. But of course, do not do this instead of doing what the doctors are telling you. Be an adult, make your own decisions. I'll leave it at that. But hydrogen peroxide is my secret weapon against sinus infections. And so I used to get really bad recurring sinus infections. So I kind of know what the signs are when those happen. And I have a protocol that I do when I feel like I'm coming down with something. And if I do that, it really keeps everything away. So I've been doing this protocol this week. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. I cannot say that this is what has prevented me from getting sick. I don't know. To be fair, my roommate isn't that sick either, so I'm not really sure what's happening. But I will tell you that hydrogen peroxide, this stuff, which was, I brought home from Canada, this is $3 Canadian. this stuff by itself kills viruses. That is what I know to be true. So what I did before this, like I said, when I was getting sinus infections, is I would do a hydrogen peroxide protocol, which means I would do a neti pot, so warm salt water and then a few drops of hydrogen peroxide in it, put it through my nose. I would do a warm salt again with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, gargle with it, so putting it in your throat. And I also have one of these ear balloon things, so I put a little bit in this and then put it in each one of my ears and let it sit for like 5 to 10 minutes. And yeah, that should theoretically kill any viruses that may be lingering around in your head, and that is where they get in. They can also get in through your eyes too. So I don't have any protocol for that, but that's what I've got. That's basically everything. I made a story of everything I wanted to share with you guys today. And really the big thing that I wanted to tell you is that you do not have to be afraid. You do not have to feel fear. You do not have to think that the world is ending. If I can sit here and make this video for you while I'm under quarantine, I'm under quarantine for another week, then you are going to be fine too. If you want to try the hydrogen peroxide protocol, go ahead and do that. Again, obviously, I'm not a doctor, but this makes scientific sense to me and I feel fine. So, but I also felt fine before. This is just an extra precaution I'm taking. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or if there's anything you want to ask me, then go ahead, drop it below. Other than that, I've been, wondering what I can do for you guys and trying to do business a little differently over here while keeping myself afloat, keeping the business afloat. So I have put all of my digital classes on sale. If you guys are stuck at home, if you want to learn something new, then all of my courses are on sale right now, including my Spiritual Rebel B-School class, which is all about learning how to start a spiritual online business. I know some people right now are really wishing they had the skills for online business because you can work from home. So if that is something that you're interested in, it is on a super sale right now for $97. I'm also offering coaching, one-on-one coaching for you guys at a discounted rate. This would just be a session for us to chat about your coronavirus-induced panic or anxiety or fear or whatever it is. I mean, it can also be about something else, obviously, but this seems to be what everyone wants to talk about right now. So maybe you're worried about, the economy, or, you're worried about a parent, or you're worried about, yourself getting it. These are all things that we can talk through on a one-on-one call. And it's on sale right now. And I think that's all I can do for you guys. But if you have any questions, if there's any resources, if there's anything that I can do for you, then please drop it down below. I just want you to know that I am well, life goes on, everything's fine, and everything is going to be fine. I love you guys. It was a weird video for me to make. It must be a little weird for you guys to watch, but thank you so much for being here. Pass it along to a friend that needs the message. I love you guys so much. We're gonna get through this. I'll see you soon.